the Department of Law. John Skidmore, there's direct evidence that he's dirty.
That's
to the
one of
vote,
the things
to
I
the
had.
core.
That's where you and I are going to be agreeing.
And Marla Greenstein. Marla Greenstein, and I presented a lot of the evidence to the grand jury who wrote a report and recommendation that has been sealed. And that is wrong. I don't care what anybody says. That's wrong. That report was to us, to public.
I appreciate that. And we're going to agree to disagree about corruption within the department, because if there was, I would definitely want to do something about that. That's not going to be acceptable at any level within our department. But I do agree that we need to do some additional things and some things differently than we're doing with investigative grand juries, because I do believe that that right is currently constrained, unfortunately, and it's not according to the Constitution. So those are things we can work on and we can have those discussions, but unfortunately I do have meetings the rest of the day.
Well, I appreciate you taking what time you have.
I saw you here and I thought I would come in.
Sir, I think a lot of the viewers would like to know, are you a Democrat or are you a Republican?
Sir, I'm a Republican. Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, that's a good sign, ladies and gentlemen. That gentleman is a Republican and not a Democrat. That'll make a big difference.
So, can I get your information, please? Can you write it down for me?
The first female to score Russell Pets together in middle varsity football game, and I was turned into a criminal here after fleeing for my life from my ex in the
Please do write your contact information.
Hey,
I have a pen right here. I have a photo of it.
This is my stuff. I've been writing all about this, and I'm actually rewriting the legislation myself.
So I can honestly say this is the first I've heard of this, and I'll reach out to you, okay?
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Can I shake your hand?
I honestly have meetings I've got to run to, gentlemen.
And what was your name again, sir?
COVID
You're doing a great job, and I think the viewers are going to appreciate you and your hard work.
I appreciate it. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Trek, is COVID guidance treason?
Thank you for taking the time.
I appreciate it. I wanted to make sure I addressed it.
You know,
Is COVID guidance treason, Trey? Yeah, prosecute treason, bud.
I'm not aware of a felony problem.
I was arrested for filming in public buildings. I was just wondering if other people have been too. I just wondering if you're aware of it.
No.
yeah, there's some serious issues with that in the courthouse and the courtroom.
Yeah.
I was maliciously prosecuted for stalking, which I never stalked anybody, by an attorney in this town. Her name was Christine Victoria Williams. She tried to have me thrown in prison 3 different times. I was able to get attorney's fees for her corruptness, and it was all because I threatened to protest her and tell people about her place of business and her conduct. And so she tried to get me maliciously prosecuted 3 different times. So I think that's, I mean, there's some corrupt attorneys in this town, and I think it's worth addressing.
Well, I think within any type of profession, you're going to have some corruption, and it's up to the Alaska Bar Association to deal with that corruption.
They just brush it under the rug.
And I've been told that before. So anyway, I appreciate you, gentlemen. I do have to run to a meeting, so I apologize for everything.
Yeah, there's a lot of DAs that are prosecuting us for filming in public. I just thank you.
Thank you.
And he was maliciously prosecuted by some corrupt district attorney. Do you know Jordan?
I know it's Jordan.
It's a Palmer DA, and they were maliciously prosecuting him here in Anchorage after the judges up there all recused themselves because they didn't want anything to do with the case. And then they had he had put out some YouTube videos on it, so retaliation for his police, and arrested Mr. Lawler and took him to jail for something he didn't do.
Yeah, for filming.
For filming in the court
What I'm doing right now.
clerk's room, conducting business, which we all have a right to do, to hold our government accountable for their actions.
Yeah.
And he got thrown in jail for it. So that's why I kind of asked you that question.
Yeah. Well,
Eventually they dropped the case because they found out, they tried to get him to do a plea deal and plead to a disorderly conduct about something else he didn't do.
5 times.
But 5 times they tried to make him take a plea deal for something he didn't do either.
And that's what they're doing. 97% of all of the people that are convicted are plea deals here in Alaska.
That's a big problem.
97%.
That's a big problem.
And that's what they do, is they get you in the system, they string it out until you can't take it anymore, and then they offer you a plea deal, and at that point,
Well, the judge in his particular case wouldn't even let him represent himself, okay? And that's our constitutional right to go into court and represent ourselves before the judge or before a jury. She would not only not let him represent himself, but in addition to that, she made him get an attorney. He couldn't file pleadings on his own. She wouldn't let him file pleadings. She wouldn't let him file subpoenas to get his information that he desperately needed because the district attorney would not supply him with this discovery information. And it was just terrible. So he ended up having to get an attorney, which was as corrupt as the people he was dealing with. Had to fire that one that still won't give him the documents that he gave her or him, whichever one it was. And then he had to hire another one that was just as bad. They're all part of the bar association. So he had to hire another one that found out it was more important to go to her daughter's soccer game during the hearing than actually show up in court and do her job. So she didn't show up in court that day to represent him. This was the second attorney he was forced by the court to hire. He didn't want an attorney to start with, but they forced it on him.